I gotta say, the 3D effect actually worked really well for the stop motion, and it actually had a lot of detail and nuance that I wasn't necessarily expecting. Was there any hesitations like by doing the film in 3D?
No, because the thing is, you've ever been on a stop motion set, that's the beauty of it. It's like you're in an actual environment. You feel the puppets, there's a texture to it. And the 3D element just brings out all the beautiful things that the artists do. You know, the painting of a prop and the making of a prop. It's like, it gives the audience the feeling of like what it's like to be on the stop motion set. So it only, to me, all of us, it only enhances it.
Do you have a particular favorite creature or monster?
Frankenstein.
Tell us a little bit about your own experience with your own dog when you were young that influenced you on that.
Well, I had the first relationship you have with a pet is so pure, and the dog I had this disease called distemper, and it was not meant to live for very long, ended up living quite a long time. But this special relationship, and there was always this specter of death hanging over it, which as a child you don't really understand. But after growing up with Frankenstein movies, that sort of was your introduction to death and that kind of thing. So that's why it seemed like such an easy fit. It seemed quite natural.
Tim, could you talk to me a little bit about the process of music with you when you guys first get together on a project like this particular movie?
Well, we've known each other for so long. I think he just tries to get into the spirit and the vibe of it, and he's like me. He loved old monster movies as well. So it was quite easy. I mean, especially we started making in the film industry around the same time, so we like the same things. That's why we're friends, and that's why he's been, especially with the stop motion ones, he loves that as well. So he's just like another character, he's like another actor, like these guys, just helping bring it to life.
Bill, and how careful did you have to be about balancing the authenticity or bringing sort of the monsters to life at the end of this movie and making them intimidating and scary, and not overwhelming maybe sort of family audience with this story?
Well, I think people forget, I mean, I remember going, when we first did the short, and then, oh, this is too weird, and then they showed Pinocchio, and kids were running out screaming in the theater, it's like Disney founded its company on, having things that were scary, and I think people kind of forget that, and to me, this was really safe. I never was worried about it because they're little puppets, for God's sake.
It seems to kind of be a return to form. There's a lot of elements that kind of call back to Edward Scissorhands, and obviously when working with her again. Where was the decision to kind of make your short from '84 into a full-length feature?
Well, just over the years, it was like memories, It's like there was more memories from that time, having to do with other kids in school, teachers, kind of relationships you would have with people and other kids and, then other monsters. So I tried to make everything sort of personal that way. That's why I was so, wanted to, work with Martin again and Winona and, Catherine O'Hara and Mark, people that I've worked with before, because it was important for me to kind of make this as personal as possible.
I wanted to ask the actors what it's like for you, the process of working on a film like this, what you enjoy about it, what you don't enjoy about it, how it is working with Tim, the difference in directing you, and that kind of stuff.
It's really easy.
Well, Tim sent me sketches of this character, and I read the script, and I just loved it. I appeared in it. The thing that I love about it is that the animation came after the voice. The great thing about a director like Tim is he creates a playground. And I visualize this character as if I were to act it, behaviorally. And the thing that is mind-boggling is when I saw the film, it's exactly what I would have done. I mean, it also looks a bit like me as a young man. It's advice as well, And I love this character because he's eccentric, idiosyncratic, tender, a zealot, and totally undiplomatic. Anyway, everything about this character was something that resonated with me. And I feel this is more Tim. The fact that he has kept this movie alive in his mind for all these years. I mean, the one addition is a 3D, but he would have made this very film 30 years ago if he could. And I'm so happy that he made this film. And I love this film. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
I really sort of drew on a little bit on my character, Lydia, imagined her as a little girl from Beetlejuice, but also on what I imagined Tim was like, you know, at that age, and that sort of, just the sort of shy, like super creative, and that love for, it's really a love letter to that first relationship, like Tim said, with I mean, I had one, and it's equally as important to you as any relationship, and it stays with you for the rest of your life. And
I had a question about, it started as a full length and then became short, or?
No, it was always a
gonna be
short, yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering how much of, if there was a full length,
No,
how much
no,
of
it
it
was
was
always
seen here.
It was like when Disney used to do those things where they'd have an animated film and then they'd have like a nature, like, you know, Charlie the crazy Hollywood cougar, you know, it was back in the old days. That was the intent.
Okay.
Tim, I was wondering how much of the end result changed along the way based on working with these actors?
Well, the great thing about them is and what's great too is that they inform, you know, the voice, I mean, they go back and do, you know, they probably came in several times to do pickups and things here and there. But initially, it helps the animators. I mean, honestly, what Martin said, you know, because we filmed them on a little camera just for the animators so that they can, you know, because the animators love seeing, just even if they're standing there, they still get something in their personality, and they love that. It's important to them. It's not just about the voice. So it's, you know,
yeah, when I was doing my hanging, I mean, I was really doing the movements because it helps you. It helps me, but it also, you know.
What is the time frame like for you doing an animated film versus actually having to get into makeup and things like that in a live action? How much is it easier for you? Do you find that it's just as much work?
Well, it's not just as much work, but it's unique because I also did a voice in a film that Tim produced, 9. And I don't do a lot of these, and only with Tim actually. But it's fun to work with Tim. And I keep saying that because he's open to anything and everything, and he makes suggestions. He doesn't have to finish his sentence most of the time because I know what he wants. You know, he can say, "You want to rehearse?" And I say, "Yeah." And then we'll rehearse. And he'll come up and he'll say, "You know," and I say, "Yeah." Because I know what's missing in an odd way. And then I said, "Let's go again," and we do it, and he'll come up and say, "That's exactly." And then we shoot it.
I love to work with people where they pretend like they understand what I'm trying to
Mr. Burton, what is your opinion of Fantastic Fest and the fact that your film is the opener for this year?
Oh, we're all very honored about it. I mean, I've heard about it. I haven't been to Austin. I was here in like 1987 working with a writer who lived here, and I loved it. And so it's nice to, it's like 20, how many years is that? It's great, because I've heard about it being a great festival. So we're really honored that it's here. So thank you for having us.
Thanks, everybody.